Good, happy Tuesday morning, June 7, 2022. I'm Riley King. Welcome to this Tuesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. It's time to rise and shine and get this Tuesday off to a good start. Grab a good cup of coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy this Tuesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King, where we have a little bit of everything for you in this program. So let's get started. Happy Tuesday, everyone. First up, U.S. tightens grip on Putin's inner circle. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
It's a beer opener that turns off all work apps.
The U.S. is pressuring billionaires with Kremlin connections and now targeting the planes of a Russian oligarch as street battles rage in a key eastern city. Foreign correspondent James Longman is on the scene in Ukraine. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, George. Ukraine is holding on in the east, even though Russia has made some important territorial gains. But overnight, Ukraine says it's launched a successful counterattack in a key strategic city there. This is as the US continues to pile on the financial pressure on Vladimir Putin and his allies. This morning, the US is tightening its grip on Vladimir Putin's inner circle. Federal prosecutors are moving to seize these two planes they say are owned by Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich, who allegedly moved them to Moscow in March, violating sanctions put in place by the US. In response to the American sanctions, Russia is issuing travel bans to 61 US citizens, including high-ranking government officials and top business leaders. With Russia's blockade of Ukrainian ports ongoing, a walkout to the UN Security Council, Moscow's ambassador unhappy at being accused of weaponizing global food supplies.
You may leave the room. Maybe it's easier not to listen to the truth, the ambassador.
In the east, Ukrainian forces are still locked in a grueling effort to fend off Russia's onslaught. Putin's forces have taken huge swathes of territory, but in Severodonetsk, the Ukrainians say they've mounted a successful counteroffensive and pushed back the Russians to the eastern part of the city. But the Secretary of the National Security Council, Alexei Danilov, has told ABC News that it will be difficult for Ukraine to win this war without speeding up the supply of modern weapons. The country is ready for long-term resistance, he said, because we're fighting for our freedom. New long-range weaponry from the US and now the United Kingdom to Ukraine is intended to defend against this, Russia's relentless bombardment of residential areas. And Russian state television is reporting the death of yet another Russian general, Roman Kutuzov. He could be the fourth Russian general killed since this invasion began. Robin?
All right, James. Thank you. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Rob.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Lawmakers hope to reach deal on gun reform by end of week. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
See what Congress is doing right now, if anything, on this. Go to our congressional correspondent, Rachel Scott.
George, good morning. Well, senators met late into the night. Democrats do not want to let these talks drag out. They want to reach a bipartisan deal on gun reform by the end of the week. But several Republicans have signaled raising the age to purchase a semi-automatic rifle. The type of weapon that was used by the suspects in Uvalde and Buffalo is likely off the table. Many Republicans are just against this. They believe that the age is appropriate, or they say that it should be left up to the states to decide. So senators are considering ways to strengthen background checks by possibly allowing juvenile records to be screened if the gun buyer is under the age of 21. Also on the table, incentives for states to enact red flag laws, which would temporarily take guns away from people considered to be dangerous, as well as funding for mental health and school security. Congress is under immense pressure to do something. Actor Matthew McConaughey, who was actually from Uvalde, was up here on Capitol Hill pressing lawmakers about gun reform. And in just a few hours, the son of the 86-year-old woman who was gunned down while grocery shopping in Buffalo will be testifying before Congress, George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much. And ABC News is devoting the entire day to a closer look at guns in America across all our programs. Coming up on our next hour, Robin's going to talk to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre about this crisis.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Rob.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into weather. Here is a look at the weather across the United States for this Tuesday. In Boston, it'll be 82. New York, 78. Washington, D.C., 81. Atlanta, 84. Jacksonville, Florida, 88. Tampa Bay, Florida, 91. And Miami, Florida, 82. Over in Dallas, 94. Phoenix, 107. Los Angeles, 80 degrees. San Francisco, 66 degrees. And Las Vegas, 106 degrees. That is a look at the weather across the United States for this Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's take a listen to the Uvalde teacher who survived shooting speaks out on police response. Let's take a listen to that video right now.
It was just bullets everywhere, and then I just remember Border Patrol saying, get up, and I couldn't get up.
Did you feel abandoned in that moment by police, by the people who are supposed to protect you?
Absolutely. After everything, I get more angry because you have a bulletproof vest. I had nothing. You're supposed to protect and serve. There is no excuse for their actions, and I will never forgive them.
How many students were in your classroom when the shooter came in?
11 students.
So the shooter killed every single student in your classroom.
Yes, ma'am. That's when I got to thinking, this family lost one. I lost 11 that day. And I just went to my parents and said, I'm sorry. I tried my best with what I was told to do. Please don't be angry with me. It all happened too fast. Training, no training, all kinds of training. Nothing gets you ready for this. We trained our kids to sit under the table. And that's what I thought of, at the time. But we set them up to be like ducks. You can give us all the training you want, but it's, gun laws have to change. It won't never change unless they change the laws. The only thing that I know that I will not let these children and my coworkers die in vain. Absolutely, I will not. I will go anywhere to the end of the world to not let my students die in vain. They didn't deserve this. Nobody in this world deserves this kind of pain. No mother, nobody deserves this. I will go to the end of the world to make sure things get changed.
Okay, and there you go on that video. And that was a Uvalde teacher who survived the shooting, speaking out on the police response. And let's take a look at this. What is initiative eating, and how can you add it into your lifestyle? Let's take a look at that video from NBC News.
Right now, we're all feeling a little strapped, but weekends are still all about grilling. And Walmart always keeps prices low on our fresh ingredients, so you can save money and live better.
All right, this is a really interesting story. We're back with our series Beyond the Scale. There's this food trend that's gaining in popularity.
Yes, I was just asking the guys if you've ever heard of intuitive eating. Anybody in the studio? Intuitive eating? Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Okay, everyone says no. According to the website ZocDoc, appointments for intuitive and mindful eating have increased 122% in the last year. The intuitive trend has become a viral hit, and I talked with some women who swear by it.
I did every diet you could think of under the sun.
Gabriella Coliff discovered intuitive eating after 8 years of yo-yo dieting. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to try something else.
I wanted something that I could sustain for the rest of my life, because anyone can go out there, drop 20 pounds real quick, but it was the maintaining it for the rest of your life.
Gabriella says she's lost 50 pounds by eating intuitively. Now she's sharing her story with nearly 200,000 followers on TikTok. So how do you explain to people what you're doing when you talk to them about intuitive eating?
It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. If I'm out with like a bunch of girlfriends, I'm going to eat, if I want to splurge and eat, I'm going to do it. But I'm also able to pick up on my hunger cues throughout the rest of the week, and it creates a balanced life.
Intuitive eating is a process of listening and responding to your body's messages to meet your physical and psychological needs. Intuitive eating counselors argue if your body can tell you when you're tired or thirsty, it can tell you when you're hungry too. I think most of us, for the most part, know what to do if we were given a test and we would say, okay, do you want the bowl of fruit or do you want the candy bar? I mean, we kind of know what to do, but for some reason, we just kind of lean towards what we want. Where does intuitive eating fit into this?
So what intuitive eating does is it allows you to view food neutrally so that you get to decide what feels good to me. What do I know that my body needs to honor, yes, its cravings, but also its health.
Nutritionist Colleen Christensen is part of the new wave of intuitive eaters on social media. She's in good company. The hashtag intuitive eating has over 1 billion views on TikTok and 2 million posts on Instagram.
You can have a positive and healthy relationship with food and body, and it doesn't have to be following these rules that we feel like, oh, I have to eat this or I should eat this.
According to a recent analysis, intuitive eating is linked with better body image, improved self-esteem, and overall well-being. And while it isn't a weight loss plan, a 2016 study found intuitive eating was strongly associated with lower odds of being overweight and obese.
When I practice weight management with my patients, there are many aspects of intuitive eating that we incorporate into their individual plans.
Dr. Holly Lofton runs NYU Langone's weight management program. Her patients learn some intuitive eating techniques, like focusing on their hunger cues.
If we're eating and not paying attention to the cues that your brain is sending or your gut is sending, that can lead to overeating, and of course that can be detrimental for one's health.
She believes intuitive eating fits into the country's shifting attitude towards diet culture.
I think a lot of the new mantras about how we eat and our activity and live our lives are very physiologic. It's really getting in touch more with our roots, and in listening to your body, you can really make great strides in your overall health.
For those interested in intuitive eating, patience is key.
Intuitive eating takes time. It's not necessarily a light switch that you can just turn on. We have to essentially relearn how to listen to our body.
All right, so let me add another layer here. Colleen said you should act like you're a scientist collecting data from your body, okay? So slow down when you eat. What makes you feel good? What doesn't make you feel good? And then make tweaks based on that. And while it works for a lot of people, it may not be for everyone. So if you have high blood pressure, for example, or high cholesterol, you have to follow a specific diet, or maybe you have to limit certain foods. But here's the thing. Dylan, you've been intuitive eating for a really long time, but you also have self-discipline. You have more discipline than I do.
And it's something I didn't even know was a way of eating. It's just I always, I love to eat, as you all know, but I also know if I eat too much of one thing, I'll pull back later on.
Yeah, you're just very disciplined.
Yeah.
So this is one thing we didn't mention in the piece that I thought was interesting. Everybody I talked with, they went to a doctor first. They did an allergy test, they do a battery of tests, and you find out maybe you're allergic to something you didn't even realize you were allergic to, and you strip everything away, because I think sometimes you don't even know if you're hungry anymore because you can't even listen to your body. So go to a doctor first, make sure you're not allergic to something.
And we do eat too fast.
And we all eat too fast.
It takes 20 minutes for the brain to register.
A lot of times, often, people think that they're hungry when in fact they're thirsty.
All of those things.
Bored.
And they say if you slow down and just listen to your body, that, it can work. It works for Dylan.
She's the poster board for intuitive eating. So there you go. I don't know. She's like, yeah, look at me, it works. Okay.
Oh, that took a turn. We're sorry.
That's what she meant by
Moving on. We've got people waiting in the wings. Let's go.
Okay, and there you go. And we're going to switch gears now, and let's go into some entertainment news. And in your entertainment news, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's daughter has red hair. Let's take a listen to that video from Entertainment Tonight.
For the line crew and the go-getters, there's Granger, supplies and solutions.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's daughter Lilibet turned 1 over the weekend, and a source is giving ET all the details inside her first birthday bash.
Well, they've chosen Lilibet, which is the nickname that was given to the Queen when she was a little girl. So it's deeply personal and really an incredibly intimate name for the Queen. But the couple has made it clear that they will refer to her and they expect others to refer to her as Lily.
Meghan and Harry just shared a new image of their beautiful baby girl. There's Lilibet, a candid shot at her birthday celebration wearing a blue outfit and a matching bow. Her best accessory, her red locks just like her dad and brother Archie. The source says Meghan and Harry celebrated Lily's birthday at Frogmore Cottage with several family members on Saturday. On the guest list, Zara Tindall and Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's children, along with their spouses and little ones. Our source adds that it was an opportunity for the kids who are close in age to spend some time at Frogmore together. The birthday was low-key and relaxed with birthday cake for all the kids to enjoy. But notably absent from the festivities, Prince William, Kate Middleton, and other members of the royal family. Turns out they were all traveling to different parts of the UK to visit those who are celebrating Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee. And ET source is adamant the events were not planned to avoid it. Quote, "It's simply a coincidence they fell on the same day. There was no intended slight."
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge tweeted their well wishes to Lilibet while taking their children on a previously scheduled visit to Wales.
Also missing the celebration, Queen Elizabeth. But a source confirmed to ET she met her namesake for the first time face-to-face last Thursday after the Trooping the Colour event, which also included a reunion with her big brother, 3-year-old Archie.
She hasn't seen Archie for nearly 2 years now, and she hasn't seen Harry for well over a year. So she will have been, I'm sure, delighted to have got to see him and Meghan. And how much was discussed is hard to know. I think the Queen, particularly given that she's not 100% at the moment, will have just wanted this to be a warm encounter.
The Sussexes made the trip across the pond for Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee, honoring her 70 years on the throne. As the 4-day celebration came to an end, the Queen shared her gratitude in a statement, writing in part, quote, "When it comes to how to mark 70 years as your Queen, there is no guidebook to follow. It really is a first, but I have been humbled and deeply touched that so many people have taken to the streets to celebrate my Platinum Jubilee."
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Paramount sued over Top Gun Maverick. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
What's Guy Fieri doing at the neighbor's house?
It's Slider Sunday! We got cheeseburger sliders on King's Hawaiian pretzel slider buns. Slider Sunday! Everything's better between King's Hawaiian bread, especially now with King's Hawaiian pretzel buns.
Now we're going to go to that blockbuster lawsuit over the new Top Gun Maverick movie that is flying high with moviegoers around the globe. Paramount Pictures now slapped with a copyright infringement lawsuit, and our Kaylee Hartung is in Los Angeles with more on that. Good morning, Kaylee.
Hey, good morning, Michael. As Top Gun Maverick soars higher and higher at the box office, it is hitting some turbulence. Its studio Paramount in this lawsuit is being accused of deliberately ignoring one family's copyright and thumbing its nose at the law.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
It's quickly become one of the biggest blockbusters of the year. Top Gun Maverick.
Having any fun yet?
But this morning, a major lawsuit
slamming Paramount Pictures. The son and the widow of the author of the magazine article which inspired the original 1986 Top Gun. Claiming Paramount failed to acquire the rights to the article about an elite Navy fighter squadron before releasing what they call the derivative sequel. According to court documents, Paramount bought the exclusive motion picture rights to the magazine story just after it was published in 1983 and credited the author in the 1986 film. But that copyright expired in 2020, which the suit claims was well before the second film was completed. Paramount fighting back over the charges, telling ABC News, "These claims are without merit. We will defend ourselves vigorously." The civil lawsuit now demanding a jury trial, seeking an unspecified amount in damages and an injunction to stop distribution of Maverick and any future movies in the franchise. 36 years after Tom Cruise's first high-flying adventure captivated fans,
I feel the need for speed.
the bona fide hit sequel already raking in more than $500 million and counting globally at the box office. A big boon to theaters and Paramount.
It's actually pretty unprecedented how well this movie is doing. This is definitely, at least theatrically, Paramount's giant play for the year. It's a movie that could be Tom Cruise's first billion-dollar movie worldwide.
And with all of Top Gun Maverick's success, so many fans are already buzzing with excitement and hopes for a third installment. Now, producers have said there's nothing immediately in the works, but they hope to ride this wave. That was the feeling, at least, until this lawsuit threatened to ground that effort. Guys?
We hope it isn't grounded, Kaylee. Thank you. Let's bring in ABC News Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams to discuss this lawsuit. Dan, what is at the heart of this case against Paramount?
Basically, they're saying there's this law in place that after 35 years, the rights revert back to, in this case, the authors of the magazine article and their heirs. They're saying that that 35-year period has now expired, that the film was specifically a derivative work of that magazine article, that the rights have come back to them, and that no one followed up with them to try to renew those rights for the second film.
So what's Paramount's defense?
There are a lot of defenses here. First of all, they're saying that the first movie wasn't actually even a derivative, we think they're going to argue, of the actual article. Furthermore, they're going to say, well, even if it was, the second movie certainly wasn't a derivative of that original article. Remember, facts aren't copyrightable. And the other thing that they're likely going to argue is that they substantially completed the movie within the 35-year period. Remember, there have been a lot of delays in this film. And they're going to say we substantially completed the film before the rights reverted back.
So which side has the better argument?
You know, look, it's always going to be tough when you're the plaintiff in a case like this. They've got some serious legal firepower behind them here. This is not a frivolous argument, but it's also not going to be an easy argument to win, in particular because Paramount has so many different arguments they can make. If they win any one of them, they win the case. So they can just say, you know, okay, you don't accept that argument, you don't accept that argument, but if you accept the third one, we still win.
Well, on the third, they did buy the original rights, correct?
Well, again, whether they paid for it, whether it was actually for the rights to use it in the film is a question, right? Because the credit in the original film was as suggested by.
Not inspired by.
And as we know, the language to credits can be very, very significant in these kinds of films. So that's why I'm saying that this is complicated. There are a lot of different layers to the defense's argument, and we haven't even actually seen the response.
Headed to settlement?
Usually these cases end in a settlement, but you know, this is something that's happening in Hollywood a lot right now. This is important stuff to Hollywood about this 35-year. A lot of people are suing major Hollywood studios saying, look, these are our rights now. Remember that old thing you produced? 35 years are gone. You guys never renewed it with us. You can't make another new one. So it is a huge issue in Hollywood. So I wouldn't immediately say it will definitely settle.
A lot of people going to be watching.
Absolutely.
All right, Dan. Thank you. Well, hey there, GMA fan.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Goodbye.